Hello you guys. Thank you so much for watching. I first want to apologize that it took me so long to make this video. I've been working on it. Well, not this video. I announced that I was going to make a video about ayahuasca, but it took me a bit longer. And there was a reason for this. I decided that it might be a good thing to open up a little bit about who I am and about my life, because the ayahuasca video, the self-love video, and the videos that I'm planning to make in the future are all based on my experiences. I'm sharing information that has helped me to really improve my state of being. And I think that in my videos I can explain even more and make you understand more how things have affected me, if you understand where I was coming from and what my story is. And this was a bit difficult because even though I didn't want to go into too much details about my life and stuff like that, I just wanted to tell it very quickly in some big lines. There were a lot of memories that came back, and there was a lot of emotion coming with that as well. So it took me some time to just figure things out for myself and kind of figure out what I want to share, if I'm ready to share this or not. And so I decided to make this video and upload it together with the ayahuasca video, so that you have a choice if you want this information or not. If you're just interested in the ayahuasca video, that's completely fine as well. So in this video I'm gonna share my life story. It's not a very happy story. It's not something that I really like sharing, and I have never done anything like this. This is like the most vulnerable that I think I've ever been. Like normally you just talk about these kind of things, or you just tell these kind of things when you've had like alcohol, and then the next morning you're like, I just hope that we just pretend like we don't know, or just my story is that I was born in Russia with my mother. She was 20 years old when she got me, and we had a hard life. She was trying really hard to make things work. She was a good person, but she was very traumatized herself. She taught me a little bit about it, but I've read things later on. I discovered really horrible stories about her life. I'm not gonna share that, but it was really terrible. So yeah, why I'm saying this, my mom doesn't live anymore. She kind of smuggled us to the Netherlands. At first she tried to make it work in the Netherlands. She had to, at one point she had to go back to Russia to because my grandma, her mom, needed help, and that was like the last family member together with me and my mom and my grandma. We were like the only ones of our family line, of my mom's family line. And she left me in the Netherlands, so I got placed with this foster family, and they didn't want my mom to get me back anymore. This woman, my foster mother, she just made a big deal of it. She manipulated things in a way that my mom was not able to get me back, and eventually my mom committed suicide when I was almost 10 years old. And in this family that I was living in, I've been abused for all the years that I lived there, and that this was the thing that has lately impacted me the most, because there were just a lot of memories coming back, and yeah, I was feeling lots of emotion. I was feeling a lot of anger, a lot of sadness. I really needed some time for myself to get myself to a more stable place and just to kind of chill. So yeah, in this family, I got abused. What was going on? This mother, she was the abuser. The rest of the family, it was kind of hidden. It was all very sneaky. Although her husband was aware, the signs were very clear. She's been an alcoholic for quite a while as well, but she always needed to have one child that she could completely ruin, that she could just bully, and she always had like a child that she could spoil, and there were children that she didn't really care about. They had two real children. They were much older. They didn't really care about it. And there were 5 children like me. I discovered later that they received a big amount of money to take care of us. We were an income for them. They didn't spend the money on us. Like, all our clothes were donated. She was very like, I don't know the word, but in like the opposite of generous, when you're like really with money. We did get like food, but honestly, I was always hungry. When she had one piece of meat, like one meat ball or something, she would divide it into like 4 or 5 pieces for all the children. So we didn't get lots of food to eat. It was always the same. It was bad quality. And we were not allowed to wash ourselves with warm water to shower, or in the winter to have the heater on. Those were things, but that was not that bad. That was just how the family was. But I was the child that got bullied for the most part. In the very early beginning, it was a different girl, but she went away, and that's when I became her main target. And what she basically told me is that in the first 4 years of a human life, that's when you kind of develop being a real human, or, well, not being a human. I don't really know how she meant that, but she basically told me, like, in the first 4 years, your biological mother already ruined you. So in her eyes, I just didn't have a soul or something like that. She could do with me whatever she wanted. She really wanted me to be unhappy. She told everyone that I was so horrible, that there was so much wrong with me. My daily life was, when I came back from school, she was like sitting on the couch, and the other children were around her, and they got praised. They were like, how do you say that? She played this game that of humiliation, and the children were supposed to like laugh at me and, you know, pick on me and say mean things to me. And I had to tell her everything that I did wrong that day, everything that I did wrong at school. Like, a lot of times I just didn't say anything. I kind of tuned out of reality, like out of the situation. I just blocked myself. I don't know. And that's when she got really angry. She beat me up. She pushed me down the stairs. I was sleeping in this high bed, and she just pulled me like on my hair out of the bed. And in the beginning, it was like the physical abuse was pretty bad, but that got discovered pretty quick. I don't know how long it took, but it got discovered when she like punched me in the face, and I had this, you know, it was very, she was wearing a ring, so it was, you could see that I had like been punched in my face. So that's when she had to stop that because it became too obvious. But that's when the mental abuse got even worse. She was just doing everything to make me unhappy, and she was just telling everyone that I was not listening and that I was constantly bad, and I was just trying to figure out how to be good and how to not be punished. But you know what, she just made things up. She would sneak into my room and like pinch me, and I was not allowed to scream, and then she would just tell me that it was because the teacher said that I pinched other children, or that children told her that I did this or that. She would just make things up, which was very confusing for me because I did not trust anyone in the world, because I was like, everyone is just making these things up. It was very, very confusing. So this went on. I was just really unhappy. My life was just, every night I cried myself to sleep, and I was begging God to just please take me with him, take me back to heaven. And every morning that I woke up, I was just disappointed that I woke up. And I didn't get like any education, not at like, don't mean at school, but I just didn't get any education on social behavior, on how to appropriately behave, because they were only like punishing me. Everyone was only angry. I only got like hate all over me. That was all that they gave to me. So I was pretty messed up, and I didn't know how to behave. I did not trust anyone. My whole perception of the world around me was just really messed up and really weird. Especially now that I've changed completely. I still remember things that I was thinking, how I was seeing things. It was just completely messed up. And from the moment that I went to high school, it just got so bad, because I had so much problems, and I didn't know how to behave. And it was like, because of that, everyone thought that I was weird, and because of that, it was just like, her hate was not only reflected by her, but it was like the whole world hated me and shamed me and shamed me and judged me. And at a certain point, I was 12, 13, something like that. It just got too much. And that's when I made the decision to end my life. I was planning on committing suicide. I was already saying goodbye to friends, but they found out and they got really angry. Yeah, which is so weird. And that was a sign it wasn't safe for me to stay there. So I got to like a crisis center for children, and at first it was like supposed to be a temporary thing. The funny thing is that this woman tried to get me back in the family full time at first, which was really weird. And they said like, no, Anna needs more treatment, she cannot go back home full time. And that's when they basically brought me away, and I never saw them again. Like, that was it. And it had to do with money, because I once heard a fight with my guardian about money, because I wasn't in the family full time anymore. Their allowance was got really low. It was only like a weekend amount, which was very low. and that's what she was really, really angry about. That's why she wanted me back full time. But no, I had to stay there, and it was not a normal thing to be there and to just not have anywhere else to go, because it was not a place to be full time. It was just, you know, they were shut in the weekend, they were just closed. So I had to kind of be dumped anywhere, with people who wanted me. So what happened next? You know, at first I was just, my state improved drastically. It was just, I can remember like the thing that made such a huge impact for me was one day I came out of school, and I we were sitting there around the table. There was someone who worked there, and they had made tea, and they gave me a cup of tea, and they were asking me like, how was your day at school? And that was like, whoa. I that was like, I can remember that made such a huge impact. That was like so weird, because I was like always used to just, it felt like I didn't exist. I was like, in this family, I was just a piece of shit, and everyone just was around me like I smelled like a piece of shit, and I was a piece of shit, and you don't care about a piece of shit, you know? So it was just a very weird experience that someone just noticed me in a normal way and was interested in a kind way in how my day was. Remembering this, it made me cry a lot of times. I've practiced so much for this video. It's like I'm really cool right now, but I've cried so much lately. But I'm fine now. I'm fine now. So in this like place that I was, they were like giving me help, but they were not really focused on my traumas. I did not talk about the family. I did not talk about my mom, about her death. I did not really talk about any of that. I pushed it all away, and our main focus was more that I was kind of, I don't know, it was like I was raised by wolves or something, you know? I just had to kind of socialize more and understand how to behave appropriate, you know? I had to be educated on social behavior. So that's where all the energy like kind of got put in, which I don't know if that was a good thing, but for me, my life really improved time by time. When I was a teenager, I went living on my own, and it was in quite a small town. And even though I still had like, I didn't have my things shit figured out, but at the same time I was a teenager, so all teenagers are, you know, confused, and all teenagers are just, you know, full of emotions and that sort of stuff. So I didn't really stand out too much. And I was just really focusing on being positive, being strong, making the best of things, work hard. I just really wanted to have a good life and to enjoy life. I thought like I'm the last one of our family, and I just want to kind of make it work just to make my mom proud. But there was also like a bit of a sad reason for my motivation, because I can remember like when I was 11, I started experimenting with smoking, and one of my brothers told on me. He told my stepmother, and she was like asking me like, did you smoke? and I admitted that I did that. And I was like ready to get punished and to be humiliated, whatever. I let it, you know, that was my daily life. But all she did was say, just like, don't do that, it's not good for you. But I could just see the satisfaction in her eyes. It was like she could hardly hide her smile. I could feel that it made her like happy. And that was like when I knew I'm not gonna smoke. I'm not, this is, you know, that's when because it was like, why am I not getting punished? I get punished for everything, even for things that you fucking made up. And so, and this was the thing, I knew if I would mess my life up, if I would do drugs or, you know, become anorexic or like fuck things up, I knew that that would give her so much satisfaction. And I didn't want to give her that. I just thought if I'm gonna make the best of my life, that will be like the biggest revenge. If I'm gonna be like really happy, really successful, that's my revenge. That will be my revenge plan for this woman, just to see how happy I am. And for a while I was fine, you know. My teenage years were actually pretty okay. I did not really open up to people, but there were lots of adults around me who knew that I didn't have a family, and they kind of supported me, even though I couldn't really explain to them how it made me feel at that time. I did feel very safe, and I felt everyone's kindness, and it had really helped me back at that time, because I was not ready at all to deal with anything. It was just good to only focus on the positive, and my state just improved. Eventually I moved to a bigger city, and I went to study there, and that's when things got really hard, because I didn't have the social support anymore. There were not a lot of adults around me that I could talk to. I still had my high school teacher who kind of offered to help me, and that was like, oh, that she was an angel. Her whole family was just such a good thing that happened to me, because they were also like the ones at that time. I've always been still believing that the abuse was, I didn't understand that I was abused. Even as a teenager, in my teenage years, I'd never talked about that. Like, I did tell people that I didn't have parents, but I would never ever talk about my abuse, because I didn't know that it was abuse. I knew that it was a terrible family, and that I was really unhappy. But I thought if I would tell anyone, that they would just think that there must be something wrong with me, because you know, if I would have been normal, or if I would have been a good person, then the abuse wouldn't have happened. And they kind of, I shared my story with them because I trusted them, but it was more in a way that I was so, you know, confused, because I told them, like, I tried so hard to be good, but she was just doing this and that, and I didn't understand, and I was just opening up everything, and they had to explain to me and teach me that it was not my fault, and that as a child, I could have done, there was nothing that I could have done to deserve to be treated like that. It's not normal. It's never okay to treat a child like that. And you know, their support, their love, it kind of opened my heart a little bit. But yeah, at the same time, I had a hard time really connecting to people, and I got a bit older, um, you know, if I have to kind of explain how my life from the moment that I moved into the big city was like I had lived in a war zone for the most of my life, and it was like now I was set out in the normal world, and it was like I was living in a very different reality than everyone around me. I had lots of fears. I suffered so much from post-traumatic stress, and I didn't even realize how much I suffered from post-traumatic stress. I started to realize it when I when it kind of got away, and I don't know if it completely gone, if that's even possible, but I brought my post-traumatic stress to a level in which it didn't control my life that much anymore. And that's when I realized how much I had been suffering and how much it was controlling my life, and how difficult it made it for me to just be. I realized that yeah, I had a shitty life. Cannot keep blaming everyone around me. The problem is probably with me. So the solution must be with me as well. And that's when I kind of started my journey to figure out what is going on and how can I change this. And I was terrified. I was so terrified that I would never get better, that I was just fucked up, that it was just too much that has happened to me, and I would never function as a normal human being just like other people. But I'm so I'm so thankful for my own stubbornness and my own, I don't know, this kind of hope that I still had somewhere, because I did find ways to change my life around and change my state of being. And at this moment, I'm not perfect. I'm not like, oh, I'm not only happy, not at all. But even like friends around me said that they could just feel that the energy field around me had just changed. And that's something that I've noticed as well. I have changed so much, and even when I get down, sometimes I'm still down or doubting myself, or I feel like I'm not really, like I forget to love myself. But I just have to remind myself of everything that I've already learned and everything that I know, and I have to practice that again. And that's how I can turn it around much easier, much quicker than I could before. Like before, it was really easy to just really break down completely. So the reason why I'm sharing my story is because I just hope that my story and my experiences that I share can at least inspire someone to never think that it's hopeless or that you're hopeless. There is no limit to a person's capability of healing. You can get wherever you want to go. And that's something that I hope can inspire the world. And I have a lot of plans with my videos. I'm going to share a lot of information, but I'm also starting my business, and I have like a lot of things that I want to encourage. I'm not starting my business to, like get attention or get money. I really have a plan to start something to encourage people to love themselves, to believe in themselves, because happy people, they don't go on and abuse other people. People that are fucked up, miserable, are the people that go on and abuse other people. I just don't want my story to go to waste and let all this suffering be for nothing. I want to kind of turn it into something positive. And if there is someone that I can inspire or someone that I can help, then then I would just be so happy. Then it would have all been worth it. So thank you for watching. If you like it, just check out my ayahuasca video, and I'm gonna upload much more videos in the future. Thank you so much for watching, guys.